people that care about them. So these are some of the things that you have to do as a teacher. And you have to make sure that you pay attention to all of this. So one of the first things I've noticed, I have a 7-year-old child and I have a 4-year-old child. And the 7-year-old child, I paid a lot of attention to him because education at his age is extremely important, because these are the foundation years. And I've noticed that when the schools closed, all of a sudden we were thrown into this world of online education for 7-year-olds. And some of you have younger children, older children, and you'll be facing similar problems. But when you're talking about a 7-year-old, there are a lot of complications. The first mistake, I think, that was made by the educational establishment was not to train the parents how to use the technology. And then secondly, not to train the 7-year-olds on how to use the technology. The assumption was, you know what, guys, here's a Zoom classroom or meeting, get on with it. And then the parents were busy there figuring it out. Not thank God for COVID, but had we not been at home, it would have been impossible to embark on online education because the process was not properly followed. Neither was there a check to see if the parents and the children were familiar and comfortable with the internet, with the computer or the smartphone, and with the online learning platform, which in our case was a maze. I mean, I wasn't amazed, but it was like a puzzle to try and figure out as a parent. And the children couldn't figure it out. So they spend 15 minutes and say, I'm done. And then they want to watch TV, which is sitting right next to them. So we have to make sure that we pay attention to this. Group dynamics. The nature of group dynamics and the importance of understanding how it affects online teaching. Now, what do you mean by group dynamics? Okay, in a normal classroom, you have the teacher comes in, normally greets the teacher greets them back. There's a handshake there. I've seen you, you've seen me, I've shown you respect, and you've reciprocated and shown me respect as well. So now there's a relationship going for that classroom session. In online learning, very often that doesn't occur, but you have to make sure it occurs. You have to recognize each student, you have to welcome each student, you have to be friendly to the students. You have to establish a relationship, remember. You have to listen to their questions, because very often you have a situation where a child is putting their hands up and saying, teacher, I want to answer the question. And in this classroom session, he is not picked. In the next classroom session, he or she is not picked. In the next classroom session, eventually the child comes and says, well, this teacher doesn't care about me, so why should I bother? I'm not interested anymore. I'm not respected. I'm not recognized. So, and then you have to listen to their questions and answer their questions. And even if you can't answer all the questions in that particular session, you definitely have to send them a WhatsApp message later on their parents' phone and say, hey, Joshua, you asked me this question, this is the answer. And then that shows respect again. So I think, really, this is really very important indeed. Now, let's go on to the socially driven online classes. I mean, I've been talking about this for, since I started talking now. The classroom is a social place. If you treat the classroom as a lecture hall, in lecture halls in university, the lecturer talks and the students keep quiet and they listen and take notes. But in online education, you can't do that. You will lose the attention of the students. They'll start doing some other things. You have to be social. You have to remember their birthdays. You have to say hello. You have to comment on a nice dress or a nice shirt. You have to comment on good behavior. You have to allow a little bit of humor to break the monotony of a 40-minute class. Imagine a 40-minute online class for a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, even a 25-year-old. Humor always makes a great difference in public speaking. So why not apply it to online learning? Inclusion is key. You have to ask questions. You have to ask questions of each student. Now, I know that sounds like a little bit too much, but the fact of the matter is you have to ask questions of as many children as you can. And as a teacher, you have to take note of who did you pick on to ask questions in this class. So in the next class, you'll ask another set of people and you basically rotate them. You can even have a list and tick as you go through so you know where you stopped and know where you need to start. Because if you don't engage the students, you're going to lose their attention. You have to use quizzes to check their comprehension. You know, very often I see the classes going fast. The teacher has a whole bunch of content, but very little time. And they're trying to rush through the class. So you have to pace yourself as well. Quizzes check comprehension and give the students that didn't get it an opportunity to now get it so that you can carry the entire class along with you. Don't rush through. Don't have too much content. Do not ignore certain students repeatedly. Encourage the quiet students to participate. Preparation drives participation. The more prepared you are, the more you come across as being professional, the more respect you will acquire. You have to prepare your technology, make sure it works. You have to come on time. You have to make sure content is good quality, well written, and so on. You have to be composed as a presenter. You can't be coming on and being nervous and scratching your head and not knowing what you're doing and using too much you know, eliminate where was I? You know, be prepared for the class. Ask your students to prepare as well. The more prepared a child or a person is for an online class, the more they're going to be able to participate in the class. And the more they participate in the class and the more they can answer questions, the more they're actually going to enjoy the class. Everybody likes to be a superstar. So encourage your students to prepare before the class so they can participate in the class, so they have a greater chance of having satisfaction from the class, and then they can feel like a superstar. And if I feel like a superstar in your classroom, guess what? I'm going to look forward to your class. I'm going to prepare better next time so I can be an even greater superstar the next time round. So praise your students. I'm running out of time now. I've run out almost. Praise your students. Give them rewards. If you're dealing with primary school kids, you can't imagine how much they really value stars or points. You know, so find a way to give virtual stars. Even if you have a little board that you put up and you put their names on that board, and you put the star and you come and show it at the end of the class. Oh, Joshua, you have 5 stars. Jane, you have 3 stars. This one, you have 25 stars. Reward them, make them look forward to, let them participate, because this is what happens in real schools. There are rewards. So in addition to that, you can give online books. You can give white papers to the older ones. You can give links to interesting materials. Sometimes they're cartoon videos that actually teach a lot of useful stuff. So thank you very much. It's really been a pleasure talking to you. I'm Lare Ayoola. I'm the CEO and Executive Chairman of Tranter IT. Tranter IT is a support company, an IT automation company, an IoT, Internet of Things company. We are the master distributor of Ongo framework that sells online education platforms, telemedicine platforms, e-commerce platforms, and so on. So we are going to enable the entire world, especially starting from Nigeria, to come into the virtual world and sell things, sell education. Basically, we're going to allow business to continue, even though we're all stuck in our houses to a large extent. We love you from Tranter. Thank you very much.